Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to Cloud Test Lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
We are making a request. We call an URL is basically a request that could be made along with some parameters as part of the request. See, we're making, let's say, getting the specific URL, and we are passing the specific parameters as part of the request. So as part of the request, we can send some parameters using C URL and C param tags in conjunction. And we have like a C colon redirect. So if I specify that, and I just click in a page, if I specify as redirect, it always redirects it to a different page. So here, there is example like redirect to JSP. What we're doing, we're just redirecting to the URL google.com, right? When we go to the browser and say redirect JSP, it simply goes to google.com. It's redirected to google.com website. So folks, any doubts in this core tag? Or in general about taglets, how we included the prefixes and everything? Folks, not only you, everyone will learn with practice. So you have I'll just try to practice, like using different tags or whatever the programs that we did. Just, try to do it on your own so that you learn it better. So these are different tags that are part of the JSTL core tags. So I think we have seen almost of all the tags with examples also. So the redirect tag or the import tag, which gets the contents of the URL that is mentioned, and we can render it in our page. We have the for each, the mostly the for each, the out, the if, right? Those are the tags which are kind of widely used. It's because that's the kind of basic functionality that is used in general, right? So the same this time we are using in this code, we're setting some weight variable, and we're just printing the weight, and if weight is greater than 1, we want to render on the screen that weight is greater than 1. If it is less than 1, we just don't want to do anything with it. Then we use the column here, right? If let's say if weight is greater than 1, we want to say it is greater than 1. If it is less than 1, even then we want to say it as if it's less than 1, right? So then we go for a choose. Then we go for a choose, and we have different ones. Let me find a better readable. Right? So we have a one tag which says the weight is not provided, and if it is less than 0, we want to say that incorrect weight. It cannot be 0 or negative. And if it's greater than 0, it says the weight as one. That's the scenario we use choose tag. And see here we get the URL as a variable. If you observe, even the call and import tag. So you see here, call and import tag is special URL, and there is a variable that if you just want to render the contents of it, as a HTML, you get the HTML content that's returned with this URL. We can render it on in our page in addition to the content whatever is there previously. Is the import tag. I'm using the call and out. You can again render the contents of the specific URL. If we have using the import, we have it in a variable, right? We have it in a variable which could be used later. The same case is the URL, right? We have a variable, and this comes as a URL. This forms a URL along with the request. It's a variable which has an URL along with the parameters that are provided with the inside the URL tag. The parameters are nested inside the URL, like the when tags are nested inside the choose. And you can have otherwise tag inside choose tag at the end. If none of them evaluates to true, it goes to the otherwise part. The same way the param is nested inside the URL. So, but in this example, if I render it, it will be like so much of content that returns from this website. Actually, the users, whatever the content that this website returns, it's going to, get that encoded in our page. The content that we will be able to see on. So, any doubts in code? Exactly. We don't, for the Java content, everything, right? We don't need to write an if-and-if layer or the for loop, right? That's the purpose. Let's say if we were trying to achieve it with a scriptlet, right? We have to write the loop, or we have to write the Java code with scriptlet. So that in reviewing scriptlet, we have specified tags. The Java standard tag library as part of Java standard tag library. So that's functionality. So any standard tag library, any tag library, it's an advantage of making our life easy so that there's the functionality that is attached with the tag. Then we going ahead and writing, more Java code inside scriptlets. So with these tags, we will achieve the functionality, whatever we want to, without scriptless. Like, if you want to do this, in scriptless, you have to write if, and then we have to put some HTML content in there, and then, some more scriptlets spanning across the page. So, is this clear? Cool. Look, in any other doubts in tag libraries or in specific to the JSPL code tag before we move further?
Yeah, what is the library for JSPL?
What is?
libraries mean different using?
I'm seriously sorry, I'm not getting it. Library or?
Any lib file, say how we get this tag lists and all GSTL. So we'll be including that.
We have the specific jar file which contains the tag. We have to get that specific jar file which contains the tag libraries, and it should be part of the project. These JSTL tags are comes with this jar. These JSTL tag lists are present in this jar. It's a good question. I think I missed it. Anything like we are using a custom tag, we are using some survey functionality, or we are using any framework. We have to specify those jar files in the project build path, project class path. So all the JSTL tag libraries, they are part of this JSTL jar. If you don't have this jar file, the tags are not recognized. So let's say if I take out this jar file and build and deploy, I won't be able to see the functionality because the tag is not available. I mean, either something is missing and we've got or it says that. So when I'm using any tag libraries, those tag libraries should be available as in the project class file. You understand?
Neha, is there any tag library for the string operations, like contains
string?
Yeah. Say if I have a series of strings.
I mean, you are saying as part of a JSTL?
Yeah, JSTL.
I don't think that it has some content, but anyway, if it goes with the API and see it, I don't think that it has something as content.
Okay.
See, it's not that they have tags for each and every functionality in Java. I think like that, but the mostly used things, they seem to be having it. You understand?
Yeah, got it.
So if you're using struct tags, let's say, the struct custom tags or tag libraries, we have to include the struct tag list jar. If they're using JSTL tags, they have to use it. If they're using any tags like Spring provided, they have to include that specific jar file. It's just like that. If you don't have this jar file, it's going to say, the specific tag is missing when we run the JSTL. So this page works even without this line, right? Because we are not using any format tags or any function tag type here, right? So I don't need to specify this. If I'm using any function tag, then I have to specify it. So we have to specify the tags. The tags that we are using. If you're using tags of core tag list, we have to specify. If you're not using, we don't need to. So in general, when you write a JSP page, these two lines are not mandatory. When you just create a JSP file, these things are not mandatory. It's just like an import that we specify when we want to use some classes outside of the package. What do we do in Java class? If we want to, use some classes outside of the current package, what do we do?
Import them.
Yes, same way. It's like we have to specify if we're using any other tag library other than the code. Other than script lines or HTML, we have to include that tag libraries using the taglib directive. You can just go to Google and see the API of the taglib. So you just go to Google and say the JSTL tag. They have in their API they have all the tags that are part of this. It doesn't like an API if you want to see all, So all part of a specific class, we see the API, right? It's similar to that. So I'm going to send those jar files, but in general, when you're doing, let's say, you're saying JSTL stuff, if there is like some kind of a custom tag that, let's say, you want to use for your work, you have to go to web and download the specific jar file. So if you're using JSTL tag, we have to download the specific jar. Depending on the taglet that we are trying to use in our project, we have to download that specific jar file and keep it in the project. Usually, all the jar files, we keep it in the content by place folder. We place all the jar files. Usually, they'll be part of the lib folder. So, folks, see, if someone was asking about, like, what's part of it? It's a TLD file. It's an XML content. It's the tag library is like a TLD file, like a Java class is. You don't need to understand what is inside it, but someone was asking in the previous class. So I'm just saying, if you extract the jar file, if you unzip and extract the jar file, you will see TLD files inside there.
How did you unjar that file?
A jar is nothing but a zip file. You can directly extract it, or we have the jar command to do it. You can go Google and say jar command JAR. You can use it by specifying the specified options, and you can extract it. See, folks, jar is nothing but a zip file. If you want to evaluate with specific options, we can use the jar command, JAR command, to do it. And then we have the formatting tag. So when we're using the formatting tag, we have to include that specific taglet directive. So here, can I put? API is nothing, but you could just go. You could just go to web and say, say JSTL. Usually when you have some tutorials, they'll have all those things. Like, I think it's Oracle provided. So, you have all this documentation saying about different tags in it. And API is nothing but what are the contents that's basically part of it. I think I have this a better, yes. This one, this tutorial part, it seems to be really off. It's just for GSP. So I think I'll search for it, and I think I should use it. Okay, this one. It seems to be better than anything for canvas sharing it. So you can, which when they're explaining the API, you get, like everything with more examples. Like even the exams that we're doing, the students of the previous batch, they did from this, they have different code tags, each and every functionality or examples and everything. That's what we call it as an API. Usually we don't say as API for tagless, but we use the API more for a Java terminology. But I'm trying to say API in the context of whatever present inside it. So, does it help you to go through it, Sarosh? I'm just saying it's just you go to a tab and you can see, like what tags that are available and the specific documentation, like, if you're doing something that's part of a Java, they are all, they're all documented as part of Java docs. In the Oracle website, we see all the documentation. I think in the previous class, I was sharing some information with you regarding the filters, right? The Java the servlet filters. So in that, in the Java or in the Oracle website, we have like the documentation on what to do with examples. So, and here, if you're using the formatting tag, we have to include that specific taglet. I cannot use the format tag in this specific case because I have not included it. So if you want to use the format tag, right, I have to include tags using the taglet directive. And there are different tags that's part of the format. We have the format number, let's say, if you want to have specific currency associated with it, or, if you want to say that, the fraction digits after the decimal, you just want to have only two, we kind of could format the number. And when you have a pass number, like whatever the value that's passed your string, it passes to only integers, which means that it removes the decimal content. We are passing the number to get only integers. It is passing the number that is represented with a specific type, or we can specify a percentage, or we can associate any currency. And we have the format date. So we can format a date object, let's say using specific style, or whenever we can, we can specify, use the pass date by specifying a specific format, the DD, MMYY, or MMDDYY format. And if you're having any kind of properties, we can format it using the set bundle tag. And there's a class, Java.title.time zone. So it specifies the time zone for any kind of formatting. Like, we have
it's a simple question. Like, when you say, every time when you say date object or something XYZ object, is that because like everything in Java is an object, or is date there an object?
Sorry?
No. Is that date is really an object, or is it?
Yes,
like,
date is an object in Java.
Okay.
See, in Java, whatever are not primitives are objects. Date is an object. You have a connection. Connection is an object. You have a servlet class, a channel services. It's an object, right? Everything in Java other than primitives, whatever we are dealing with is an object, right?
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Yeah, like a time zone is an object. When you have a date, we have a date class, java.title.date, and we have like a SQL date also. So the class, when I say new date, it's a Java object. Date is also an object. So, we can set the time zone, when we render some value, or we can set the time zone as a specific value, or, we can format the time according to that specific time zone. Like, if you go to the Java time zone, there are different IDs for different time zones. So we can specify it and get the time formatted according to the time zone. Within an object, we can set the time zone to a specific value. And, basically this formatting tag, or like when we have some value, we want to format it and, display it to the, and display it in a different format, as a currency, or, truncating the decimals, or getting only the part, or if you want to associate with percentages, or the days you want to display it in a different format, or the time as such you want to put it in a different time zone. This formatting tags are usually kind of used for formatting. So we just need to understand about this stuff. It's not that we will mug it up right away, but as you go ahead and do examples, we understand it better. Even when you go to a project, let's say you are using JSL tags in a project also, we don't be like using all the tags. All and each and every tag is present, right? Let's say if you want to pass a date, a format a date, right? So we just use the specific tag. So it's not that we, at the very first day, we have to know about all and every time. No. But we should know how to use it so that, we can go to the web and get the syntax of it. But we just need to know how to incorporate the tags and understand them. We should have the ability to use them. But we learn about each and every tag as we go ahead and use them. I mean, not only, I'm not saying this for the format tag, anytime, whether JSTL or stance or string, anytime. No one say, what is the tag that is using stress? No one can say tag 1, tag 2, tag 3, and all that. But we should have the ability, like if you want to iterate, we have the logic. But for example, if you're using JSTL, if you want to iterate, they have the for each tag, right? Okay. If the value is this, I want to render this to the screen. If the value is something else, I want to render different things. You should say, like a choose tag that's available. And, that's how we learn when we just do code. And of course, I think I'm saying it's more than 10 times. But whatever the tag that we want to use, we have to specify it using the tag directory. And associate with a prefix with it, so that in the rest of the page we use the tags with that prefix. So if you observe it, I'm specifying the prefix as FMT here. So for the format tag, I'm using the prefix as FMT. And we have specified the code prefix is C, and for code tags we are using C as the prefix. And folks, and I reiterate, everything other than primitives is not within Java. Whether if you open a file and deal with the file object, if you're reading something sometimes, we have the reader and writer objects, buffer reader, buffer writer, and let's say we establish a connection with the database. It's not, if we bring a message, we get a queue, a topic, even that's an object. You want to log something, use a logger, even logger is not. Everything in Java is an object other than the printing data. So, any doubts in whatever we have covered so far, the servers and data, different code, setting some attributes in the section, creating some user beans, any beans and putting it in different scope, how to use tag library. And everything that's in the GSTL tag. So any doubts in anything before we end the class? Okay, if you don't have any doubts, let's call it a day. And thanks everyone for attending the class. And good night, folks.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website H2KInfosys.com. On our website H2KInfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.